What's going on, you guys? It's Evan here for another great Pawn Chats. Joining me is artist. He's so fucking talented, Jose Trujillo. Before we start talking, I sincerely want to thank the episode sponsor, once again, Cambridge Gold and Antiques. You guys go visit Cambridge Gold and Antiques on eBay. There is a link in the video description. There's also an email here. They're actively seeking electronic antique appliances. Hit up Cambridge Gold and Antiques. And with that, I am so excited to talk to you. So, Jose, why don't you tell us all about the story of the artist and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, cool. So, well, thank you for allowing me to be in your space here. My name's Jose Trujillo. I've been an artist for like over 20 years, 20 something years, but I've completely been, well, I was sucking at it, at the whole transaction thing. I used to do art exhibits and whatnot. And I got to a point where I just got tired of the whole rat race, I guess, of trying to get into galleries. And I came to a point where I was like, I don't know what to do with all these paintings. I should probably just get rid of it. I should change careers, throw this away. And it occurred to me to not throw them away, but to just sell them on Craigslist. And so I went and I put them on Craigslist, and in a day I made a few bucks. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't put everything there. I just put some. And I was like, wait a minute, people want to buy them. I think I have a problem with people not knowing who I am. And so that's when it started sparking. And so next week, and I did another one. I did another sale, like garage sale on Craigslist. And I sold some more paintings, and people were like, oh, can you paint such and such? And it just kind of started the whole thing. And before I knew it, people were telling me, why don't you try eBay? So I went on eBay, and I mean, it just took off for me.
How many years ago was this?
I started about 12 years ago.
So that first Craigslist, that garage sale was 12 years, and then you've just been ramping up, and now you're a full-time artist. How old are you?
41.
Okay, cool. I'm 33, but I mean, we are a little similar here in that I also was chasing ambitions in art. I was trying to be a writer. My 20s, lit on fire, failed. And then I fell into this randomly, and here we are. It's like you fail and then you succeed. It's funny how life works out and finds a way. Now, as far as the style itself goes, they're oils, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I noticed you have just started doing some other stuff too. In fact, this is what I love, is nobody knows that you're doing watercolors now. Where you're like, it seems you just started, and I'm sure you noticed because you probably package the stuff yourself. I've been buying a lot of those because they're cheap, and your other stuff is getting too expensive. Tell us about the different mediums, kind of how you found your niche, your style, and what you're using now, and why you're diversifying.
Yeah, so when I started painting, I used to do only very large stuff. I had an apprentice under another artist who was doing murals, a Mexican artist who was doing murals, and he was still doing them under the style of, like, the mural is from the 1920s, 30s, it's an Italian style called fresco. And so a lot of Mexican artists were doing that during that time. So some of those people taught some people, and I ended up learning from some of those people who were taught by those people. And so it's like I got started on that, painting very large scale. But I mean, it seems like large paintings are for like large artists or large walls, I guess. And so I didn't have much luck, getting that going to make a full-time living. I would sell something here and there, but it didn't get much traction. So I started moving into smaller paintings. This style was called plein air, which is just a fancy word for open air or out in the open air. And I got into that too. I got into painting outside. That picked up a little bit more traction, and it helped me develop a quick style, because when you're painting outside, what's going on is that nature is against you, right? The light is changing. There's more mosquitoes everywhere. There's like, nature is kind of fighting you, and so you have to sort of paint very quick, as opposed to painting in a studio under controlled lighting, temperature, and all that. That's your coffee and everything. So what I did is develop a sort of quick brush style when I was learning this plein air techniques. And so one thing got me to another. It's just like I already knew how to paint figurative work in large scale, but now I needed to paint smaller and paint faster. And so it started creating a very, for me anyways, I felt that it was kind of interesting little approach to painting, to the point where where I knew that if I used more paint, it also gave me this um I don't know, it gave me this feeling. It's just better when the painting's smaller and I use more paint. It just feels like I'm not really rushing through it. It's more like I'm carving in the painting itself. So those little things like that just started adding up until I started feeling like I had something unique happening.
You have some ongoing themes I've noticed. You'll do one painting and then you'll do different versions of that painting. And I've like just over the last year I've been following, I've noticed that your style is just the things that you're doing, not just the mediums, but the themes. My favorite, and I just commissioned you to do one for me. You have animals that are violent, or like it's gone from being cute to like disturbing. My favorite, I fucking lost the bidding because it was like $400 or $500, and I was just like, God damn, somebody outbid me. It was a pig. It was a pig that was wearing a butcher laurel, and it had like a bloody butcher knife, and it was like, like the cannibal pig. And oh my God, that's fucking awesome. I just paid you to do, it's like a bunny with a gun. Tell us a little bit about kind of how you arrive at some of these new ideas. Another one I noticed you do is you're big on alien abductions in the desert, which is fun.
Yeah, I the whole idea of like plein air painting, I think has to do with like this other group of artists that we're kind of creating a little movement on their own. They call themselves daily painters, and everything they were doing was pretty cute. And there's a market for that. And I started doing some of those paintings, but a part of me was like a little bit more sinister. I was like, I need to make it, I don't know, not just cute stuff. I'm sure there's something else. I guess I started getting tired of the cute bunnies and stuff, and I go back and forth. It kind of almost like watching a comedy after watching a kill flick or something like that. I got watching something very scary. I have to go watch a comedy. I do that with art. So yeah, I just started getting into thinking about what if this little bunny was really some sort of Sicario or. And I started thinking about that. What if a little panda bear is carrying a couple of I don't know Glocks or something like that. That I don't know.
What I have noticed, okay, I've noticed two things. Number one, I am not the only person that is speculating on your art to the amount of money that I'm throwing around, and and I'm not going to ask you your client's info. That's private. I've noticed though, I can tell when I'm not going to win because there's a certain bidder. They bid the same numbers, and they're the ones with the deepest pocket, and it's got to be the same person. I've noticed that this individual and two other individuals that have bid signatures, they're buying the stuff and they're looking for the stuff that is unique from you, where it's a new experiment or it's one of these it's something that you've never done before. You're breaking the mold. Or you're using a different color. You use a lot of blues, and I've noticed that your most expensive stuff, it's either this weird stuff that's brand new, or it's a not blue painting. I guess I don't know what the question is here. Just talk about that.
You are the first person that I've ever talked to, and I've talked to a few people that nail this right away. Because most people are like, "Oh, I see your paintings, da 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 da," but I think you understand trend spotting. Like I think you really understand trend spotting, because you're the first person that actually nails it. That is exactly it. I have some buyers who are only waiting for that rare stuff that no one else is. And the vast majority of the buyers are okay with going into the soft blues, the pastel colors, the another boat on the water. But I have a handful of buyers. It's probably including yourself now, it's about 5 buyers are always just waiting for that thing that is different. And it's been like that since day one. I just didn't want to believe it was that, I guess. When something is good for you and you still kind of fight it, instead of moving towards that direction more of looking for that different stuff, I kept trying to go for the vanilla stuff, going back to my artist self was like, oh, I got to go do that vanilla stuff that everybody likes.
Well, you're the artist. You should never capitulate to the people who are buying your stuff. You're doing it for you, and that it's working for you is commendable. But the day that you start doing what they want you to do is the day you sell out. Says the guy who's wants you to do certain things because it's my money on the line. But no, just as an artist, you should never bend. That said, though, yeah, I've noticed that like certain things you do, they go for way more, and they're what I'm looking for now. Now, the reason I'm doing it is because I know my collectibles well, and I know what makes a collectible more rare. Just that unique factor is what you want as a collector. So as a collector of your art, I'm looking at what you're doing, that you're not doing a whole lot of it. It's very unique. And I know, and obviously the other buyers I'm up against agree, that's the stuff to collect. That's the stuff that's going to be really expensive.
Totally. I think as an artist, we're always looking to scratch that itch. I have an idea of something, and it's very interesting because the stuff that I think is great, a lot of people don't. Like most people are like, ah, and the stuff that I think it's like, um, not that it's bad, but that I just kind of went, I took a left turn, sort of speak, is the stuff that people go bananas for.
There were a few that I were bidding on that went for numbers that I was like, holy shit! I didn't think, and I thought that was like a top one. Even I didn't think it would go for that much. What's the most expensive painting you've sold, if you don't mind me asking? I did check on eBay because I can look at sold, and I saw one that went for like $4,500. Couple in the 2,000 to 3,000 range.
On eBay, nothing more than around at auctions, nothing more than like $1,000, under $1,000 at auction. That's like the most expensive. But selling paintings outside of like commissions and whatnot, the most expensive painting that I've sold is $12,000.
Nice.
Other than that, it's just groups of paintings. I had a really great collector that came in. She's now selling her artwork also. Well, it's my artwork, but it's hers now.
Right.
In different platforms. And she spent over 100K in like a couple of months.
Good for you.
Of art.
I have a few of your paintings for sale, just a few. And it's not necessarily ones that I don't like. I just, the way that you game this, and like, this is just for everybody watching to know, how do you buy a collectible and make money on it? You buy a whole fuck ton and then you sell part and you own the rest for free. And then you let that mature in value. So I have a few I picked out. And if I get my price on 4 of them, it's paid for, well, not anymore. And I honestly, Jose, I got to stop buying your stuff because I can't afford to keep buying this. It's I spent like $2,000 this past month on your stuff. I don't feel the money's wasted. A, it's beautiful, and B, it is. What's amazing me is I said to myself when I looked at this art, I said, this guy's going somewhere. This art's going up. And almost like as soon as I discovered it and thought that, it started climbing. A year ago, your paintings were on eBay. You could get one of your paintings for $30. You'd be hard pressed to get them for under 100 now. In fact, I ran an experiment a month ago, and you might have noticed this. I bid on 20 of your paintings. I bid $100 on 20 because I was curious how many of them I would win. A year ago, I would have won all of them. I won half of them this year. And one of them, like I said, it was one of those ones that went for hundreds of dollars. So there's definitely, your price is exploding.
I love that. I've been noticing that too. And I mean, thank you for buying the artwork as well and letting people know. One of the things that I've also noticed is that people will come to eBay, buy the most rare stuff, and then will take it to a higher end platform, to put it in those words, and we'll sell it for $2,000-3,000 somewhere else.
Right. And what I love about that is, I mean, each time
you're
getting sells for that, it establishes a new precedent of value, and that's right. I don't really do art here. It's hard. Too many fakes, too much money, too many moving parts. This is the one time I feel I'm going to do really well on art. But yeah, every time a painting sells, though, that sets a new bar for what it's worth, and just because art is so subjective. The only thing I don't like, and I've been trying to think all day how to say this to you, and I'm going to just say it, you do a lot. How many paintings a day do you do?
Oh my God. I try to shoot for as many as I can possibly push out, and that number usually falls under 22 to 25. Sometimes I'm super lucky. Yeah.
A day?
A day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Holy shit. God, you must love painting.
Yeah. It also keeps me real big, because here's the thing. If I just focus on doing one, or like the idea of doing 1 or 2 good paintings,
yeah,
I end up doing 1 or 2 paintings. This has happened to me many, many times. And so what I did is I based my productivity on this experiment. I think one of the famous Ivy League schools did this. They ran a sort of an experiment, where I don't know if you know this study. A professor was like, "Hey, we're gonna grade half of the class. It's a pottery class. Half of the class is the grade is gonna focus on the best piece of pottery you can come up with, and the other half is going to be by weight, how many pieces you can create."
Hmm.
And so of course the one that created more pieces had many more great pieces simply because of the number of pieces they created. Where the half that just focused on one, they made a good piece, but it wasn't great. The other one had more chances of home runs, I guess, batting average kind of thing. And so that's how I did it. I was like, if I the more I paint, the more I have those obscure rare pieces come out. It's kind of
Right.
like mining for
So,
me. And so I don't keep them. I just throw them on eBay. Where in reality, it'd probably be maybe smarter for me to keep them and only throw the gems. But or what I think it's the gems, but many times I'm wrong. Um, so I just throw them all.
well, I mean, hey, for the people though that are buying the rarer stuff, that it entices people, it keeps them looking, it keeps them interested. The people willing to pay more for these, they don't get screwed over as collectors because of mass production. Like for example, though, like Salvador Dali, probably my favorite artist. He's one of the most prolific signatures out there. I think he only did like 20 or 30,000 paintings in his life, or drawings, etchings. But his signature was so prolific because he figured out he could sign a check and do a little doodle and they wouldn't cash the check. And so he just lived off of his art. But now that he's dead, his originals are ungodly expensive. But the because of the sheer volume that he put out there, his signature is actually one of the cheapest signatures of a famous person you can buy. It seems like you've already kind of thought of this with how your style and just doing different things. Are there any things that you don't like to draw, or you can't draw, or you just like fuck it? Example: I never like drawing houses or cars. It's too hard.
The stuff that bothers me is the stuff that's on trend. Like when I don't know if you noticed on Instagram, all of a sudden everyone's kind of on the same trend. Like a new movie comes out, I don't know, John Wick, and all of a sudden people are like doing different versions of I don't know, a scene from that movie or something like that. I have a hard time with that. I don't know if it's just
That's like not imaginative and very lame. Yeah, if
yeah,
you're inspired, if your muse for inspiration is a fucking movie came out, it's like, you know what, you should be in an office job.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm like, I'd rather. But when people ask me like, how do you know you're gonna get a good, like you're gonna make a good painting? I tell them I make 99 really shitty ones.
How often do you start over, say fuck it, and throw it out?
Maybe it happens once or twice a year.
Okay. Yeah, so not two, but boy, you must be really angry at it to just be like, nope, nope, to hell with it. I don't want anyone to see this.
Yeah, it's usually something else in my mind. It's usually something's bothering me. I'm thinking about I don't know how gangster Uncle Sam is and wants to take more money, and so
I want whatever you paint from that. I want one of those. That sounds great. Let me know. Let me ask you something else here, shifting gears a little bit. One of my best friends is an artist. He actually is the guy who did this logo. I went and visited him. He lives in Atlanta, and I went and visited him about a month ago, and we're sitting in his studio talking. We started talking about AI art, and he said, I said, so what do you think about this? He goes, this is gonna fuck up my whole industry. I'm teaching myself Python to stay ahead of the curve. And so what do you think about AI art? Because he and I had a good conversation about that. Is it art? Is it going to destroy art? What are your opinions?
I fucking love it.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
I love it. When things like that come in, I feel like artists, usually the purists are like, oh no, this is bad. I can't. I think it's a tractor for a farmer.
Ooh, good analogy.
I don't think I came up with that one. I think it was Gary Vee, but I'll own it for now.
You didn't even take credit. I wouldn't have known.
But I really do think I think it's one of those things that, for example, if I'm thinking about making a painting, right, I'll doodle something. And this is going back. Sorry, I didn't mention, but the reason why I'm doing like watercolors and putting them on auction is because I'm always doing watercolors and works on paper, but I didn't put them at auction. I would sell them. And so before I'm going to make a painting on oil, what I do is I start looking for references, right? I'll go on Google, I'll whatever. I'll start imagining things and kind of copy and paste in my head. But I'll make a little doodle. But now what I can do is I can play with Midjourney. I can play with DALL-E, with AI, and I can rearrange things. And I can also say, hey, why don't you show me this painting in such and such other artist style? That way I can see the shift in lighting.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And so there's so much stuff you can do, and there's so many different AIs where you can rearrange the group of the painting and everything. Another thing that I do also is that I play around with Chat GPT and I'll ask,
I
hey,
just bought the
look,
pro version. I love it.
yeah, the proper. I mean, it's like, look, I got this painting. It's got such and such things in there. Give me an example. Rearrange the painting in 10 different ways.
Well, it's not art per se, but in a way it is, because you're thinking of it and you're using it as a tool. And if you're going to use it as that kind of a tool, then I mean that's really enhancing your abilities as an artist and really just
Yeah,
using the technology in the best way. That's very cool.
I love everything that is coming out because you can do so much. At the end of the day, it's you, right? You're the artist. You're putting the prompts. You're imagining things. You're the one arranging everything. But it is art.
All right, Jose, you have a massive social media audience. Tell us about building that up, how it's impacting your art, how you've seen it continue to grow, and what works for you on social media.
Social media for me has felt like pushing a rock uphill with my eyeball. You know, it's been the most uh, difficult thing that I've done, but it's been the most rewarding. Everybody and their dog would tell me just focus on selling your artwork. Step away from like the fads and the trends, and everybody's like trying to do social media. And I was like, mm-mm. It looks to me like whoever's doing social media, it's gonna own digital real estate, quote
Exactly.
unquote.
Yeah.
I've been doing it very, very raw. Like I make videos and I just upload them. I don't edit anything. I just, I might crop a painting, but I really just put it out there and do as much as I can, as much as time allows me. I started doing 10 YouTube videos a day. I never think of myself as very talented. I just think that I just bat a lot. When I was a kid, I remember reading about Babe Ruth, and he was asked something about batting or whatnot or home runs, and him responding, I just happen to bat more than others. Like I swing more than others, something along those lines. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but something along those lines. And I remember that like sitting in my heart when I was a little kid. I was like, that sounds true. Like it sounds so true to me.
The reason why I started these pawn chats here on my channel, because it's I have my own version of Pawn Stars on here. That's what I do. But then I would I'd start doing Q&A with other people. I start doing interviews, and the people I wanted to have on here is the message that I continue to drive home for people on putting out content, and that is social media for business is what you need to be doing. You need to figure out how can social media work for me, and if you can figure that out, you can do anything. Succeeding in art in any way, shape, or form, whether you're an artist, a writer, a podcaster, a video creator, whatever you're doing, if you have succeeded at that, you're making that your full-time job, that is what you do to make money, you have succeeded in probably the hardest thing there is to do, because art has a 99.99999% fail rate no matter the medium. And social media is the only thing, or one of the only things, unless you're like ungodly talented. Even then, if you're ignoring social media, you're hurting yourself. You're not allowing yourself to break out. It's the best way to break out. So, it's what spoke to me so much about your art is I started investigating you. Who are you? And when I saw your following on social media, I was like, oh, this guy gets it. And no other artist, there are very few other artists do. Last question, Jose, and I'll let you go. What does the future hold for you this year? What are your goals? Leave the audience with some teasers here.
I've been focusing on creating more works on paper, and I'm hoping to diversify more. But I also been working on larger paintings, and I want to see if I can get some I don't know, a collection of maybe some of those more rare paintings and a larger scale, and possibly get some gallery shows or something going on.
All right, Jose, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, your art, and your social media?
So you can find me on Instagram, Jose Trujillo Art, and or josetrujillo.com. josetrujilloart.com. Sorry.
You guys, again, check out his art. It is on eBay. Just know you might be bidding against me or somebody richer than me, and get this shit now because it is amazing how much is going up in price. Leap on this stuff now, you guys. And Jose, you're such an amazing artist. I can't wait to see where you go. And I want to leave everyone and let everyone know, Jose did this for me for free. And this is my favorite thing in my shop. This I will never sell. And it is such a perfect item for my store for my persona, I love where it sits. My mom made this crown for me. So when I got it, I was like, well, fuck, what's going to happen to the crown? Oh, I know. I'll put the crown above it. There we go. That's humble. So, all right, Jose, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking to me.
Thank you so much, Evan. I really appreciate it too. Thank you.
Once again, you guys, I want to thank Cambridge Gold and Antiques. Again, electronic appliances, antiques in the video description below. I'll see you guys back here for another great pawn chats. And again, go check out Jose's art. It is so cool. But get it now because it's going up. All right, later, guys.